Alright there geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Game Show, and when it comes to video game, dying is usually in as close proximity as Oedipus would like to be with his own mother. Yeah, gross. However, dying in video games often carries little penalties outside of a slight elbow to the ribs in the game going, oh gee whiz pal, did you catch the number of that bus over there? Now get back into the action, you cheeky little scamp. And you know what? I want consequences, damn it. But wait, what's this? A new single-serving character that I'm making my editor animate into this. It's the be careful what you wish for gnome. And what are you doing here? What's that? Oh, the games that we are going to be talking about today have significant and often terrible consequences for dying. Fantastic. Well, aren't I a lucky duck? Well, now, get out of here. You PNG of a gnome, who I doubt you put very much effort into editing this, if I'm honest. I have just thrown this on you right there. But totally understand, totally understand. He probably won't be returning unless he's very, very popular. But anyway, I've got a video to host, and with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 8 video games that get way harder when you die. What's that, you can't get out? Oh, sorry, I thought I left the window open for you to get. You're just gonna stand there in the corner then, are you? Right, okay, that's not gonna be distracting at all. I'll be right back, I'm just gonna let him out. How'd you even get in here then? Number 8, Pathologic. Oh, Pathologic. What the f is wrong with you? Why do you hate me so much, mate? This is a game that punishes you for breathing, let alone dying. And while most games would treat death and failure as a light slap on the back of your wrist, Pathologic binds your hands and then starts playing stuck in the middle with you while dancing around with a switchblade. It is enjoying your suffering is what I'm trying to say. And so, of course, death comes with massive setbacks, as here not only do entire quest lines get shut off if you die, but NPCs will treat you differently, making it harder to secure resources, and certain items just simply vanish from the game world, leaving behind a ghostly imprint of a middle finger. Cheers. But wait, there's more, because each and every time you die, you'll also get a stat debuff to your character, meaning that if you're not careful with your HP, you'll be wheezing and limping over the finish line with half a lung and an immune system akin to a Japanese sliding paper door, which has also been left open.
Here's our room.
Whom are you supposed to slide those doors open?
So my advice to you, my friends, is do not die in Pathologic. I know, absolute wise man moves right here, but you really should try and avoid it at every turn. But only problem is that Pathologic wants to kill you at every other turn. So yeah, there's also a plague that just wants to run rampant through your entire ecosystem that you're playing in. So yeah, good luck. You'll need it. Number 7, Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure. Now you might not think it upon seeing the cover art or stills for this Nintendo DS game, but Henry Hatsworth is a game that absolutely kicks ass. Now while the title might convey the image of a Professor Layton knockoff and be all about like gentlemanly sips of tea and light puzzle solving, the reality is that this is an action platformer with more in common with Devil May Cry than detective work. That being said though, one of Henry Hatsworth's biggest twists is that the second screen of the DS is used as a kind of Lumines puzzle board, with the player having to switch between the screens in order to clear the board in order to bank power-ups and prevent enemies from coming back into the game world, because if their blocks reach the top of the screen, they respawn in your game. Rough. Yeah, that's right, the enemies respawn no matter how many are currently kicking in your teeth, and should you leave that puzzle element for too long, you will die over and over. Yet here's the real kicker, is that if you do die, your power-ups and your special bars are completely reset, but the enemy blocks, they remain, meaning that if you're getting stuck on one of the many gauntlet sections that populate this title, you'll be adding to those enemy stacks with less and less help each time. It is legitimately possible to end up in a situation where all of those enemies that you killed are just being topped up with the fallen previous foes, and without access to your all-powerful mecha suit or your screen-clearing abilities, you may well enter a near unwinnable situation that only perfect platforming will undo. Forget about stimulating those grey cells, my friend. Dying here, it'll mess your goddamn head up. Number 6, Submission. Submission? Oh, I get it now. It's like the word submission, like you're submitting. Oh, that's clever. Submission. Not just what a very hungry man calls a trip to a sandwich shop, but also the name of a 1986 submarine-based video game. And let me tell you something, friends. Submission is the Italian BMT of NFA, which in this case is not around. And I say this because if you fail twice in submission, the game becomes literally unplayable. You see, in this game, you'll need to navigate your sub through hostile seas in order to rescue 2 different hostages, and should you mistime a turn or mistakenly target a turtle or something like that instead of an enemy sub-commander and subsequently get blown to bits, well, your death won't be the only cause of frustration, because one of your 2 hostages will get executed and permanently have their data wiped from the game disc. I'm sorry, what? Did I just skip a few chapters in the big book of Hold the f***ing Phone? Permanent deletion? Actual consequences for my terrible playstyle? Well, surely the game won't let the other hostage die and softlock. Oh, it does. It does softlock the entire game. Guess I'll go ahead and just read the submission manual from front to back, because that is all the worth that I'm getting out of this game right now. It's not even worth its weight in plastic if you fail twice. In fact, if you do actually end up with this situation, you've got a floppy disk-shaped headstone that tells the world that both you kinda suck at this game, but also that submission might be a little bit too cruel with its anti-death punishments. I'm just saying. Number 5, Lord of the Rings Online. Now, some things in life are as simple as breathing, like savouring that first sip of coffee before you inevitably your pants, or rolling your eyes when listening to your uncle's latest conspiracy theory. Oh yeah, I'm sure the ducks are taking over the government. Oh, sure. Or even dying in MMORPGs, because my god, that happens a lot. Thanks to raid bosses, endless mobs, and sometimes good old-fashioned pig-headedness that sees you run into an area full of enemies much higher level than you, death often comes at you quick and fast in these types of game. And it was no different when it came to Lord of the Rings Online. However, there is a slight twist here, because meeting your maker in this game leaves you weaker than Gollum's ability to resist an all-you-can-eat fish head buffet. That does sound kind of good right now. With each death, your equipment takes a pretty hefty durability hit, and if items break, they're about as useful for your protection as covering yourself in firelighters and leaping right into Smaug's mouth. Now, as you might have imagined, repairing them is obviously an option, but as you also might have guessed, repairing them doesn't come cheap, and repeated deaths can see you penniless and left with a weapon that is so rusted and warped you can't tell if it was a sword or once a cooking ladle. But much like the Hobbit film trilogy, things are about to get even worse for you now, because you now have to deal with the dread mechanic. Each time you die, your stats are drained across the board, meaning that enemies hit harder and your attacks feel kind of like you're throwing wet balls of lint until you can remove this debuff. Now, I don't know what madman decided to punish the player twice over by making their gear worse, their bank balance 0, and then adding on some extra stat debuffs for good measure, but let me put it this way. If I were to email them, I would not sign it off with best regards. I know, I'm sorry guys, that's just how I feel, right? Don't mess with me, okay? I can get serious sometimes. Moving on. Number 4, Sorcerian. Now, if you thought that Sifu had a brilliant aging mechanic in which each respawn cost you years of your life and which changed your abilities as you aged, then you've seen nothing, my friends, because Sorcerian was doing all of this way back in 1987. Here you're tasked with creating a party of 4 adventures out of a possible 10 heroes and then embarking on quests of daring do, likely while shielding your eyes from these atrociously harsh graphics and then clutching your ears, because my god, ear-piercing squeals, that's the entire soundtrack. However, we're not here to criticise, we're here to praise the absolutely bizarre choice made by the developers to have each of your characters age with each mission that they embark on. Every time you choose to leave the safety of your settlement, or you die and have to retry a mission, your party ages by 1 year, and as they grow older, their abilities diminish until eventually, well, they just keel over and die, forcibly removing them from your party and the game overall. Now, each race has a different lifespan, so careful use of this is key to surviving a long campaign, but it's very possible to reach the final boss with nothing but a grizzled old dwarf whose special move is now telling rambling stories about how adventuring used to be different in his day. While some titles use in-game timers as punishments, here Sorcerian punishes you for dying with watching your party age and fade away. Grim. And it also makes the game incredibly hard when you've only got 1 person left alive. Number 3, Elona. Now, I won't lie to you, friend. But when it comes to death in roguelike RPG Elona, things get pretty goddamn weird. As whilst most other titles will be happy to tax you a bit of coin and then chuck you back into the game world, here some truly strange and sanity-sapping effects might take place. For example, while the death of your character effectively ends your current run and you have to reacquire all of your loot and equipment again, you can actually visit the exact site of your death and hope to reacquire all of your previous version's gear. Please note though, friends, that I said the word hope, because sometimes you might arrive at your death spot to find that NPCs or monsters might have stolen your gear, or you might have to fight a clone of yourself who is using all of that sweet loot for nefarious means. Or you might just find that an NPC or monster has straight up eaten your corpse and has become imbued with all of your powers, making for a mini-boss fight that rivals some of the greatest foes in the game. And somehow, it's all your fault. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you died with a curse or hex on you, then guess what? All the surrounding characters and enemies, they've now got that as well to now infect you right back. Cool. And that's before even talking about how dying can sometimes change your stats or give you permanent debuffs, which you can then pass on to your future selves if you choose to respawn using a gene cloning feature, meaning that you could be weakening your entire familial line more and more with each failure. So yeah, dying in Elona isn't just something that makes your next life difficult, it is a kaleidoscope of chaos that will surprise you over and over, and likely not in a good way. Number 2, Echo 2017. If there's anything that I hate more than Basilisk from Dark Souls or Zubats from Pokemon, it's this guy right here. What's that? It's just an image of myself? Correctamundo, friends, because when it comes to 2017 video game Echo, there is no greater and more annoying enemy than yourself. And I say this because the twist present in Echo is that all the enemies you come up against are actually clones of you, and all of their actions, efforts, and puzzle-solving skills are informed by your actions in the game. And this too extends to your deaths, which the in-game AI will learn from and adjust to make it even more difficult. Cool. Because I mean, after all, the aim of this overblown defense system is to stop you from advancing. So each time you die in this game, it takes note of this and then adds in more of that element in order to stop you from getting any further. All of this means that if you suck dealing with a certain element or obstacle, the game will throw more and more of this at you and reduce you to what is basically an echo chamber filled with your own sobbing. It is a humbling experience to meet failure head-on in real life and in a video game sense, but it's embarrassing to be pied in the face with your own shortcomings over and over, especially when you can basically just see your own dumb expression plastered all over every defeat. Wouldn't you love to see that every time we die? Hello mate, hello mate, hello mate, hello mate. And number 1, E.Y.E Divine Cybermancy. In the grim dark future, there is only war. Wait a minute, this isn't, well, I'm at 40k, but it is actually a game inspired heavily by it, and seeing as the devs are big fans of it, I too am a big fan of theirs. This is E.Y.E Divine Cybermancy, or as you'll come to know it, the most overtly complicated sci-fi game that you'll ever play outside of EVE Online, because come on, let's face it, no one's taking that crown. However, what Divine Cybermancy does do is take the utmost when it comes to in-game death, and you are about to be punished hard, my friends. You see, each time you die, you'll have your san and psi meters chipped away, which degrades their usefulness over time and means that you have less control over your glorious cyborg body and even less control over your human faculties. And by this, I mean that you'll actively start hallucinating if your san level drops too low, which warps surroundings, it jump scares you with ghosts in the machine, and sometimes will just reorganize your inventory just for a bit of a laugh. But worse still, it will also change enemy behavior, meaning that certain foes will respond in weird ways, making them even harder to take down. And when all of this hits at the same time, oof, my friend. Big Tommy Tellerico branded oof. You have to watch H-Bomber Guy video for that joke, so and. This game is rock hard to begin with, but to be met with limited resources that don't respawn when you die, and enemies going haywire definitely ups things to an almost unfair degree. And thanks to the game's often obtuse mechanics and explanations, you'll have little understanding of how to fix the issues, which will often lead to more deaths and even more frustration. Run program fun.exe. Program not found. 404, sad beeping. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video games that get way harder when you die. I hope that you enjoyed that and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to chat to me in the socials in the meantime, you can follow me over on Blue Sky and Instagram, where it's @RetroJ, but the O is a 0. You can follow my lovely editor here on their social medias as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today a lot about video games that get way harder when you die, let's turn that around and celebrate life for the moment, my friend. Let's celebrate the fact that we are here and we can make a difference each and every day. And it always starts with being kind to yourself. If you want to live a healthy and happy life, that is the key mantra to hold on to. You can advance in your career, you can do tons of amazing things, but if you're not happy within yourself, well, really, that's only going to etch away at things, isn't it? So treat yourself with that love and respect, because I promise you, you goddamn deserve the best, all right? And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. Now get out there and smash it, but first, have a cup of tea and treat yourself, innit? Just relax a bit. It's going to be okay. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.